First assessment. The observation deck of the Coalition survey vessel Distant Whisper fell silent as the holographic display illuminated, revealing a blue-green planet rotating slowly against the backdrop of stars. Senior Commander Vexor adjusted his posture, the movement causing the ceremonial medals on his uniform to click softly against his exoskeleton. After 43 cycles of service in the Galactic Coalition's expansion division, he had witnessed first contact with 17 spacefaring species. This 18th encounter should have been routine. "Magnify Sector 7, he ordered, his gravelly voice echoing in the silent chamber. The hologram zoomed in on a sprawling city alongside an ocean. Structures of metal and glass reached toward the sky, while vehicles moved in organized patterns along designated paths. Energy signatures pulsed across the display, indicating power generation and communication networks. "Species designation?" Vexor asked, studying the data scrolling alongside the image. Science Officer Mailer stepped forward, her translucent skin shimmering under the holographic light. "They call themselves humans, Commander. Bipedal mammals, carbon-based, average lifespan of approximately 80 orbits around their star." Technological assessment. Pre-unified planetary government, early space exploration phase. They've established a single orbital habitat and several unmanned installations on their closest satellite. They've sent primitive probes to neighboring planets, but have not yet developed faster-than-light travel. Vexor grunted. Another developing species, then. The Coalition had strict protocols for such encounters. Observe, document, and depart without detection. Contact would only be established once the species achieved interstellar capability. Physical capabilities. This question came from Security Chief Drosic, a tall, muscular figure whose species had evolved on a high-gravity world. His skin was covered in natural armor plates that shifted with each movement. Mailer gestured, and the hologram changed to display human anatomical diagrams, relatively fragile compared to Coalition standards. No natural armor or defensive adaptations, moderate strength, moderate sensory capabilities. Their advantages appear to be endurance and thermoregulation. They can maintain physical activity for extended periods and adapt to a wide range of climates. Drosic made a dismissive sound. "They don't look like much. No claws, no armor, minimal muscle mass." "They compensate with technology," Mailer countered, switching the display to show human weapons and vehicles. "While primitive by our standards, they've developed projectile weapons, basic energy direction systems, and rudimentary artificial intelligence networks." Threat assessment. Vexor asked, his eyes narrowing. Drosic shrugged his massive shoulders. "Minimal to none, Commander. Their weapons can't penetrate our standard shielding. Their detection systems are easily evaded. If they became hostile, a single Coalition corvette could neutralize their entire orbital defense network." Vexor wasn't so certain. Throughout his long career, he had learned that appearances could be deceiving. He zoomed the hologram to focus on a human settlement that appeared to be recovering from some natural disaster. Buildings lay in ruins, yet humans worked together with remarkable coordination, rescuing trapped individuals, establishing temporary shelters, distributing resources. "Tell me about their behavioral patterns," he said. Mailer hesitated. "This is where things become interesting, Commander. They display extreme variability in social structures, beliefs, and behaviors. They form complex cooperative networks, but also engage in regular intraspecies conflict. They appear to be simultaneously altruistic and selfish, peaceful, and warlike." "That describes most developing species," Drosic interjected. "Not like this," Mailer insisted. "Most species show clear evolutionary paths. Predators become warriors, herd animals become cooperative societies. Humans don't follow expected evolutionary behavioral patterns. They're unpredictable." Vexor gestured for the display to show multiple regions of the planet simultaneously. In one area, humans engaged in violent conflict. In another, they performed intricate medical procedures to save lives. Some built massive structures together, while others created art or explored dangerous environments alone. What motivates them? Vexer asked, genuinely curious now. That's another anomaly, Mailer replied. They appear driven by abstract concepts as much as by survival needs. They'll risk death for ideas, honor, discovery, faith. They create art with no apparent survival benefit. They deliberately seek out challenges and dangers. Drossik laughed, a harsh barking sound. So they're irrational. All the more reason to classify them as a minimal threat. Vexer remained silent, watching as the hologram showed a human rushing into a burning structure to emerge carrying another human. The rescuer was clearly injured, but immediately went back inside. What's happening here? Self-sacrifice behavior, Mailer explained. Fairly common among humans. They frequently risk or give their lives for others, often strangers with no genetic relationship. Drossik snorted. Evolutionary disadvantage. No wonder they haven't advanced further. But Vexer wasn't convinced. He had seen enough species rise and fall to know that evolution favored successful strategies, however strange they might appear. If humans routinely engaged in self-sacrifice and had still risen to dominance on their planet, there must be some advantage to the behavior. Show me their conflicts, he ordered. The hologram shifted to display human warfare throughout their history. Primitive battles with handheld weapons gave way to mechanized combat, then to sophisticated technological warfare. What struck Vexer wasn't the violence itself. Many species engaged in intraspecies conflict, but the rapid evolution of tactics and technology. Each conflict showed significant advances over previous ones, an acceleration of innovation born from necessity. Their adaptation rate is remarkable, he observed. How quickly do they develop new technologies? Mailer displayed a timeline of human technological development. Exponential growth, Commander. They progressed from basic flight to space exploration in less than a single century. Their computational systems double in capacity approximately every 2 orbits. Their medical technology has extended their lifespan by nearly 40% in just 10 generations. Vexer felt a familiar sensation, a tension in his secondary nervous system that had saved his life countless times. Something about these humans warranted caution. Recommendations, he asked his officers. Drossik didn't hesitate. Standard protocol for pre-interstellar species. Document and depart. They won't be ready for contact for at least another 200 cycles, by which time they'll either have destroyed themselves or developed enough to join the coalition. Mailer was less certain. I recommend extended observation, Commander. There are anomalies here that merit further study. Their development rate doesn't match our models for technological progression. Vexer considered both viewpoints, then made his decision. We'll establish an automated observation post in their outer solar system. No direct contact. I want quarterly reports on their development. Drossik looked surprised. Commander, that's beyond standard protocol for a species at this level. I'm aware, Vexer replied, his eyes still fixed on the images of humans rebuilding after disaster. But standard protocol assumes standard species. Science Officer Mailer is right. There's something unusual here. I want to know if these humans are an anomaly or a threat before they develop interstellar capability. As his officers left to carry out his orders, Vexer remained on the observation deck, watching the blue-green planet rotate slowly in the holographic display. His long experience had taught him to trust his instincts, and his instincts told him that humanity was worth watching closely. Hours later, as the distant whisper prepared to depart the solar system, Vexer reviewed the final observation data in his private quarters. He had requested additional historical records, cultural samples, and communications intercepts before they moved beyond range. One intercepted broadcast caught his attention. Humans had detected an anomalous signal from their system's edge, precisely where the coalition vessel had briefly decloaked to deploy the observation platform. Their scientists were excited, speculating about possible extraterrestrial origins. Most coalition species would have reacted with fear to such evidence of advanced outsiders, but these humans showed curiosity, even eagerness. Another report detailed how humans had sent spacecraft to explore environments that would kill them instantly without protection. The vacuum of space, the crushing pressure of ocean depths, the toxic atmospheres of neighboring planets. They sought knowledge even at tremendous risk. Vexer thought about Drossik's dismissal of humans as fragile, irrational creatures. The security chief wasn't wrong about their physical limitations. By coalition standards, humans were indeed weak. But Vexer had observed enough to recognize that physical strength was only one form of power. He dictated a private addendum to his official report. Humanity appears paradoxical, physically unimpressive yet dominating their planet, technologically primitive yet advancing at unprecedented rates, fragmented into competing groups yet capable of remarkable cooperation. They combine a predator's aggression with a social species' collaboration, wrapped in abstractions like honor and curiosity that drive them beyond mere survival. Their greatest strength may be adaptation itself. They transform weaknesses into different kinds of strength. They've evolved not to fit their environment, but to make their environment fit them. Standard threat assessment models may not apply. Recommend caution. As the distant whisper accelerated away from the solar system, Vexer watched the blue-green planet recede on his personal display. The Coalition had encountered thousands of species throughout the galaxy, categorized them, understood them, sometimes incorporated them. But something told him that humans would not fit neatly into established categories. For the first time in many cycles, Vexer felt genuine uncertainty about what the future might bring. These humans, fragile, passionate, unpredictable, had awakened his curiosity. And if they had that effect on him, a seasoned commander, how might they affect the wider coalition when the time for contact finally came? He closed the observation file and sent the encrypted addendum to Coalition Central Command. Whether humans represented an opportunity or a threat remained to be seen. But Vexer was certain of one thing: they would not remain unnoticed in the galaxy for long. The Observer. 5 Coalition standard years had passed since the distant Whisper's initial survey of Earth. The automated observation platform, designated Earth Monitor Station Alpha, had functioned perfectly, collecting and transmitting data on human development to Coalition Central Command. Now that platform was being upgraded to a manned observation post, disguised as an asteroid in the outer reaches of the solar system. Anthropological specialist Nima Ta stepped off the transport shuttle into the newly expanded facility, her 4 arms carrying various personal equipment. As a Karishi, Nima possessed natural adaptations for scientific observation, multifaceted eyes capable of perceiving a wider light spectrum than most species, and a brain structure that could process multiple data streams simultaneously. These traits made the Karishi valuable as coalition researchers, though their small stature and minimal physical strength relegated them to non-combat roles. Specialist Ta, a deep voice, greeted her. "Welcome to Earth Monitor Station Alpha." Nima turned to see a familiar figure, Senior Commander Vexer himself. She hadn't expected such a high-ranking officer to be present for her arrival. Hastily, she set down her equipment and offered the formal coalition salute. "Commander Vexer, I wasn't informed you would be overseeing this operation personally." Vexer's facial plates shifted in what Nima recognized as the equivalent of a subtle smile. "This isn't an official inspection. Let's say I have a personal interest in humanity's development." He gestured for her to follow him through the station's circular main corridor. Various coalition species worked at monitoring stations, analyzing data from Earth. The facility was larger than Nima had expected, suggesting that Central Command considered this observation mission a priority. "You've studied 17 developing species before this assignment," Vexer stated, reviewing her file on a handheld display. "Your assessments have been remarkably accurate in predicting technological and societal development patterns." "Thank you, Commander. That's why your request for this assignment was approved despite significant competition. However," he paused, turning to face her directly, "I should warn you that humans may challenge your existing models." They entered the central observation chamber, a circular room dominated by holographic displays showing various regions of Earth. Naima was immediately struck by the diversity of environments humans had adapted to. From freezing polar regions to scorching deserts, dense urban centers to isolated wilderness. Their habitat range is impressive, she noted. That's just the beginning, Vexer replied. He gestured to a control panel, and the displays shifted to show human activities across the planet. Watch for a while. Tell me what you observe. Naima studied the displays, applying her specialized training. After several minutes, she spoke thoughtfully. They're engaging in seemingly contradictory behaviors simultaneously. Construction and destruction. Conservation and consumption. Cooperation and competition. It's chaotic or adaptable, Vexer suggested. Diversity of approach increases the likelihood that some strategies will succeed, even in changing circumstances. A junior officer approached with a data tablet. Commander, we've detected another significant technological advancement. They've improved their quantum computing capabilities by 86% in just the past 12 months. Vexer accepted the tablet, reviewing the information before passing it to Naima. This is why Central Command upgraded this facility. Humanity's development rate has exceeded all our model's predictions. Naima scrolled through the data. Her professional curiosity piqued. This acceleration is unprecedented. At this rate, they could achieve practical faster-than-light travel within 20 years, not the 2 centuries originally estimated. Precisely, Vexer confirmed. Which is why your assessment is crucial. Central Command needs to decide whether to accelerate first contact protocols or implement containment measures. The implication was clear. If humanity was deemed a potential threat to galactic stability, the Coalition might take steps to limit their development or expansion, a rare but not unprecedented action in Coalition history. I'll need complete access to all observation data, Naima said. You'll have it, Vexer assured her, along with something more valuable, direct observation opportunities. He led her to a smaller chamber where a sleek vessel was displayed in holographic form. This is the Shadow Glance, our newest stealth observation craft. It's capable of entering Earth's atmosphere undetected. You'll be authorized to conduct close-range observations of human activities. Naima couldn't hide her excitement. Most anthropological studies relied on distant monitoring, but direct observation would provide insights no remote sensor could capture. When do I begin? She asked. Immediately, Vexer replied. There's a situation developing that presents a perfect observation opportunity. 3 days later, Naima sat in the cockpit of the Shadow Glance as it hovered, invisible and silent, above a human settlement in a region they called Indonesia. Below, a natural disaster was unfolding. Volcanic activity had triggered earthquakes and tsunamis, devastating coastal communities. From her vantage point, Naima watched humans responding to the crisis. Their behavior fascinated her. Without central direction, they self-organized into rescue teams. Those with medical knowledge established treatment areas. Others created distribution networks for food and water. Some used technology to locate survivors beneath collapsed structures, while others dug through rubble with their bare hands when equipment wasn't available. Recording all observation channels, she murmured to the ship's eye. Note behavioral adaptation designations Alpha through Epsilon. What particularly interested Naima was how humans improvised solutions with limited resources. When standard equipment failed, they repurposed other tools. When established methods proved inadequate, they invented new approaches on the spot. When official organizations couldn't reach isolated areas, local communities developed their own response systems. Over the next 2 weeks, Naima observed similar patterns across multiple crisis zones on Earth. Humans displayed remarkable resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity. This aligned with historical data showing how warfare, disease, and natural disasters often preceded periods of significant technological advancement in human society. Back at the observation station, Naima presented her preliminary findings to Commander Vexer and the research team. Their adaptive capacity exceeds anything in our behavioral databases, she explained, displaying video recordings from Earth. They don't just respond to challenges. They transform because of them. Each crisis becomes a catalyst for innovation. Is this a species-wide trait or limited to certain populations? Asked a memory analyst, his crystalline structure reflecting the holographic light. It varies by individual and culture, Nema admitted, but the pattern exists across all human populations. They have a saying, "Necessity is the mother of invention." Their historical record suggests this has been a defining characteristic throughout their development. Vexer nodded thoughtfully. And their technological progression. Nema displayed a series of graphs showing accelerating advancement across multiple fields. They're approaching technological singularity in several areas simultaneously. Computational systems, materials science, energy production, genetic engineering, all showing exponential growth patterns. But what's most concerning is this. She highlighted data on human weapons development. They've created devastating weapons, then developed ethical frameworks to prevent their use. They've split atoms for both destruction and energy production. They've repurposed pathogens for both warfare and medicine. Every technology serves multiple purposes in their hands. Unpredictable, muttered a security officer. Dangerous, or infinitely adaptable, Nema countered. Their flexibility may appear chaotic, but it creates remarkable resilience. Look at this, she showed footage of humans in an advanced laboratory. They're developing artificial intelligence systems designed to solve problems humans can't conceptualize. They're extending their cognitive capabilities through technology, effectively evolving without biological changes. The briefing continued for hours as Nema presented evidence of humanity's unique attributes. When the other officers had been dismissed, Vexer remained, studying the displays thoughtfully. Your assessment, Specialist Ta. Threat or opportunity? Nema considered carefully before answering. Both, Commander. Humans could become either the Coalition's greatest allies or its most formidable adversaries. The difference will likely depend on how first contact is handled. Elaborate, Vexer requested. Their historical pattern suggests that humans respond to threats by developing new capabilities, often exceeding what seemed theoretically possible. If they perceive the Coalition as hostile, they may accelerate military technology specifically designed to counter our advantages. And if they perceive us as friendly, their cooperative capacities are equally impressive. They form alliances across significant differences. They exchange knowledge freely in collaborative endeavors. They value diversity of perspective in problem-solving. Vexer's expression was unreadable. Central Command is considering accelerating the containment protocol. Some believe humanity should be controlled before they develop interstellar capability. Nema felt alarm at this revelation. Commander, based on my observations, attempted containment would be the worst possible approach. It would confirm any fears they have about extraterrestrial life and unite them against a common enemy. They have repeatedly demonstrated throughout their history that external pressure accelerates their development rather than suppressing it. I agree, Vexer said quietly, but my opinion alone won't sway Central Command. I need comprehensive data to support an alternative recommendation. What do you suggest? Continue your observations, but focus on their response capabilities. Central Command needs to understand what would happen if containment were attempted and failed. Over the following months, Nema conducted dozens of stealth observation missions to Earth. She witnessed humans responding to various challenges, from natural disasters to technological failures, from disease outbreaks to social conflicts. Each event revealed new aspects of human adaptability and resilience. One incident particularly affected her assessment. The Shadow Glance was observing a human research station in Antarctica when a severe storm damaged the facility. Cut off from outside assistance, with life support systems failing and temperatures dropping to lethal levels, the small group of human researchers faced seemingly impossible odds. Nema expected to witness their demise, a tragic but valuable data point on human limitations. Instead, she watched in amazement as they cannibalized non-essential equipment to repair critical systems, developed improvised heating methods, and rationed supplies with remarkable precision. When standard approaches failed, they developed alternatives. When one person couldn't solve a problem, another would attempt a different approach. They shared knowledge, combined ideas, and refused to accept defeat. All 27 humans survived until rescue arrived 7 days later. Back at the observation post, Nima added this incident to her growing database of human responses to adversity. A pattern was emerging that concerned her deeply. Humans not only survived challenges but emerged stronger from them. Their technology improved after each crisis. Their methods evolved. Their cooperation became more effective. If the coalition attempted containment and failed, humanity wouldn't simply resist. They would adapt specifically to counter coalition advantages. The very act of trying to contain them might accelerate their development in precisely the directions that would make them more dangerous. While compiling her report, Nima received an urgent summons to Commander Vexer's office. She found him reviewing a classified transmission, his expression grave. "Specialist Ta," he said as she entered, "your assessment of humanity has become urgently relevant. Central Command has moved up the timetable." "What's happened?" Vexar activated a holographic display showing Earth's space detection systems. "Humans have detected gravitational anomalies from our observation post. Their scientists are preparing to investigate." "They can't possibly reach this far into their outer system yet," Nima objected. "They're launching an automated probe with significantly improved drive systems. Based on its specifications, it could potentially detect our presence here." Nima processed this information rapidly. "Their technology is advancing even faster than our updated models predicted." "Precisely. Central Command has authorized a containment assessment test." Nima felt her secondary heart rate accelerate in alarm. "What kind of test?" "A coalition military vessel will deliberately allow itself to be detected entering Earth's atmosphere. The humans' response will be monitored and analyzed. If they react with aggression or make significant attempts to capture alien technology, it will be considered evidence supporting the containment protocol." "That's an extreme provocation," Nima protested. "Based on my observations, humans are likely to respond defensively to any perceived intrusion. This test is designed to elicit exactly the response that would justify containment." Vexer's facial plates shifted in what Nima had learned was a sign of agreement. "I've raised similar concerns, but I was overruled. The test proceeds in 7 standard days." Nima thought quickly. "Commander, I request permission to continue close observations during this test. If I can document the full context of the human response, perhaps I can provide a more complete assessment." "Granted," Vexer said. "But be aware that Central Command has already begun preparations for possible containment. Military assets are being positioned at strategic points outside the solar system." As Nima left Vexer's office, she felt a deepening sense of responsibility. Her assessment could influence whether humanity faced friendship or forcible limitation by the Galactic Coalition. After months of observation, she had developed respect for these strange, adaptable beings. Their potential seemed limitless in both creative and destructive directions. The containment assessment test wouldn't just evaluate humanity's response to apparent alien intrusion. It would determine whether humans would enter galactic society as equals or face a preemptive attempt to restrict their development. An attempt that, based on everything Nima had observed, would likely fail catastrophically and potentially trigger exactly the outcome the coalition feared most. 7 days. She had 7 days to gather enough evidence to potentially change the course of 2 civilizations.